3 small hairs on my tongue, and 1 between my back teeth. She shuddered. It doesn't make any sense. Before I had a chance to say anything, she groaned, screwed her eyes shut, and clutched her hands around her belly. I put my hand on her and waited for the pain to pass. After a few seconds had gone by, she straightened again and turned to look at me. No better? The question seemed stupid, obvious, but it was all I could think to say. Poppy frowned. I felt like I slept a bit better last night, but when I woke up this morning, the pain was back. It comes in waves, but it's still there. Before I left for work, we agreed that she'd book a doctor's appointment. Later, sat at my desk as the afternoon stretched on and the minutes dragged. I did some Googling. Symptoms. The NHS website. WebMD. None of it helped. There were too many possibilities, ranging from mild stomach bugs to things I didn't even want to consider. And when I added in the white hairs, nothing came up at all. The thing at the back of my mind, the thing I didn't want to pay too much attention to, even though I knew I couldn't ignore it, was the holiday. Our trip to Myanmar. Because you heard stories, right? Travelers who come back home with weird tropical illnesses. People who ignored a tiny bite or a sting only for it to turn into something far worse. I'd even had a similar conversation with the guide on one of our treks. Kin, his name had been. We'd got talking one night while he smoked a cigarette. The conversation had started with his job, then moved on to tourism in the area.
Oh shit. I guess it's time to go to my room, go to bed, wake up in the morning, because I'm trapped. I cannot escape this place because look, it's a military base. It's not like a prison. It's much more high secure. Okay, so this way, then down here, and this way I think. Yeah, it is. Okay, cool. Okay, so this way, then here. Hey, how is it? Good? Yeah, good. Good night. Good night. Oh shit. I'm about to go to the yard. Yeah, sure, go ahead. Nice. Okay, so I think it's this way maybe. And then this way. No, it's not. Okay, so let's go this way then. Let's go, okay, up here, there we are. Up here. No, not up here. That is the wrong way. Just outside or not? See ya. It's a UFO area. Okay, so no. Okay, so no. Then which way is it? Oh, okay, so this way and this way. Okay, cool. Okay, so this way. And then here we are at the yard. Great. Area 51. No, Area 51 board. You know, Australian version of it.
Some of the stupid things he'd seen people do. Some people, they don't have any sense of respect, Kinnard said. They do not understand that they are guests in someone else's home, or that the area they're in can be dangerous. They want to pet stray dogs. They want to take photos of snakes. I laugh quietly. We always get these people, all the time. My friends are saying this. They take stupid risks, go up to wild animals, swim in lakes they shouldn't swim in, walk in places they shouldn't walk. My mind suddenly flashed back to mine and Poppy's skinny dipping session, and a pang of guilt went through me. I didn't say anything. All the time, they don't know the dangers, Kin continued. Hidden dangers. You can get bitten by something. Maybe a wild dog, rabies, poisonous snakes, spiders that lay eggs in a cut, parasites in the water. My country, it needs the tourism, but it is, how do you say in England, like a sword with two edges, good and bad. He paused and took another drag on the cigarette.
Yeah, sure.
Some people, they don't respect the land. They don't understand that there are old places.
What's your name?
Here, old things that have been here long before them and should not be disturbed.
Nice to meet you, Tekka.
Poppy was worse when I got home that day. Quite a lot worse. She barely spoke and wouldn't eat the soup I made her.
Are you Aryan
She had this
or?
smell on her breath that was sort of
I'm half Aryan,
spoiled,
half
like meat
demon.
that's been left out on the side for too long.
Okay.
The only thing I got out of her was that she booked a doctor's appointment for the following afternoon, and I have to admit that made me feel a bit better at the time.
How old are you?
When I eventually joined her in bed a few hours later, she was fast asleep.
14.
Something woke me
Okay,
in the night.
nice.
A noise.
How old are
Sort
you?
of a half-heard rustling that blended with the
13.
dream I was having.
nice.
I struggled up from sleep like a swimmer dragging themselves to the surface of the water. The room was dark, and at first I couldn't get my bearings. I could still hear the scrabbling noise I'd heard in my dream, and it took my mind a moment to realize I
Then
was
maybe,
awake.
you know,
A soft rustling.
after I
It
join,
sounded close.
let's go
One of the old
to
houses
my
I lived
room
in as a
and
student once had a
myself,
rat
and
infestation.
you know,
And that
I
was
guess
the
so.
first place my mind went. Little scurrying feet in the walls, maybe, or under the floor. That was wrong though, and I knew it was wrong. The noise was soft, but it wasn't behind the walls. It was closer than that. Then, the noise stopped. I stared into the darkness, ears pricked, but I couldn't hear anything. The room was silent. Then I saw a hint of movement from the corner of my eye in Poppy's direction. I felt my breath catch in my throat. Her head was the wrong shape. Staring at her silhouette, that was the first thought to shoot across my mind. She looked wrong. I could only make out her outline in the room's thick
I'm the
darkness,
Dervish
but the shape of her head was lumpy. Like
Yep.
an extra jump
I'm
bomb
half
sprouting from the
demon,
place her
half
mouth should
alien.
be.
So part
Closed
of
my
my
eyes,
demon, you're my
hard,
master,
trying
because
to
you're
force the sleep out
the
of it.
devil's
Two
son.
things happened
Yep,
at
I
once.
know.
Poppy's
Okay,
dark shape
okay, boss.
shifted in the bed, and a whining
Just call
noise,
me-
a soft high-pitched
just call me
crooning
Isaac.
issued from her side
That's
of the
my
bed.
name. Okay,
Then
Isaac.
it broke off as Poppy spluttered, pulling in little hitching half-breaths and coughed some more. I held my breath.
Let's do this.
I suddenly had the horrible idea that she
Done.
might be choking.
Oh shit, I guess let's go back in the cells and yeah, basically, you know. Let's just go under here, then here, then here. here. It's this way. Okay, cool. It's in here. This is where I am. Ha, funny because I am in this one. Ha, funny because look, this is mine. Oh yeah, nice. So we are next to each other. I know, right? Okay. Do you know? It's time to go to bed. Come on in. Come on in. Am I ready to go out to the yard? Yes, sure. Okay. Guess let's go to the yard. Okay, so up here. Then
Scuttling creature that even now must be out there somewhere. Maybe lurking in this.
Whether you're promoting a show or just trying to drive awareness, Spotify Ad Studio can help you reach your audience every possible way. Hey, I'm Sapphire. Want to listen to Scary? For these next 6 stories, we'll travel deep into the darkness, where twisted fairy tales take place and mysterious creatures lurk around every corner. So grab a flashlight and leave a breadcrumb trail as we read our first chapter, a Grimm's fairy tale that I'm sure your mother never read to you. Once upon a time, there was a sorcerer who disguised himself as a poor man, went begging from house to house, and captured beautiful girls. No one knew where he took them, for none of them ever returned. One day, he came to the door of a man who had 3 beautiful daughters. He appeared to be a poor, weak beggar, and he carried a packed basket on his back. He asked for a bit to eat, and when the oldest daughter came out to give him a bit of bread, he touched her, and she was magically transported into his packed basket. Then he hurried away with powerful strides and carried her to his house in the middle of a dark forest. Everything was splendid in the house, and he gave her everything that she wanted.
My dear, you will like it here with me. You will have everything that your heart desires.
So it went for a few days, and then he said to her,
I have to go away and leave you alone for a short time. Here are the house keys. You may go everywhere and look at everything except for the one room that this little key here unlocks. I forbid you to go there.
He also gave her an egg.
Take good care of this egg. You should carry it with you at all times, for if you should lose it, great misfortune would follow.
She took the keys and the egg and promised to take good care of everything. As soon as he had gone, she walked about in the house from top to bottom. The rooms glistened with silver and gold. She had never seen anything more beautiful. Finally, she came to the forbidden door. She wanted to pass it by, but curiosity got the best of her. She examined the key. It looked like any other one. She put it into the lock, twisted it a little, and then the door sprang open. She gasped. A large, bloody basin stood in the middle, filled with the cut-up parts of dead girls. She was so terrified that she dropped the egg in the basin. She got it out again and wiped off the blood, but it was no use, for the blood kept coming back. She wiped and scrubbed, but she could not get rid of the stain. Not long afterward, the man returned from his journey, and he immediately asked for the key and the egg. She handed them to him, shaking all the while as she watched him examine the blood-stained egg.
You went into that chamber against my will, and now, against your will, you shall go into it once again.
He threw her down, dragged her by her hair into the chamber, cut off her head on the block, then cut her up into pieces, and her blood flowed out onto the floor. Then he threw her into the basin with the others.
Now I will go get the second one.
And, disguised as a poor man again, he went back to their house. The second sister brought him a piece of bread, and, as he had done to the first one, he captured her by merely touching her, and he carried her away. And everything went exactly as before. She let herself be led astray by her curiosity, opened the blood chamber, and looked inside. When he returned, she paid with her life. Then he went and captured the third sister, but she was clever and sly. After he had given her the keys and the egg, she carefully put the egg aside and then examined the house, finally entering the forbidden chamber. Her two dear sisters were lying there in the basin, miserably murdered and chopped to pieces. In spite of this, she proceeded to gather their parts together, placing them back in order: head, body, arms, and legs. Then, when nothing else was missing, the parts began to move. They joined together, and the two girls opened their eyes and came back to life. Rejoicing, they kissed and hugged one another. When the man returned home, he immediately demanded the keys and the egg, and when he was unable to detect any trace of blood on them, he said,
You have passed the test. You shall be my bride.
he now had no more power over her and had to do whatever she demanded. Good, but first, you must take a basket full of gold to my father and mother. In the meanwhile, I shall make preparations for the wedding. Then she ran to her sisters, whom she had hidden in a closet, and said, The moment is here when I can rescue you. The evildoer himself shall carry you home. As soon as you have arrived at home, send help. She put them both into a basket and then covered them entirely with gold so that they couldn't be seen. Then she called the sorcerer in and said, Now carry this basket away, but you are not to stop and rest at all. Take care, for I shall be watching you through my little window. The sorcerer lifted the basket onto his back and walked away with it. However, it pressed down so heavily on him that the sweat ran from his face. He sat down, taking a breath, but immediately heard, I can see that you're resting. Keep walking. He thought it was his bride calling to him from the window, so he got up again. But moments later, he sat back down, only to hear, I can still see you. Do not stop. Every time that he stopped walking, someone called out, and he had to walk on until, groaning and out of breath, he brought the basket with the gold and the two girls to their parents' house. At home, the bride was making preparations for
What are you looking at, Al? You got a problem? What are you looking at? Get lost. I'm sick or tired of these guys watching me. Fuck.
feast, to which she had invited the sorcerer's friends. Then she took a skull with grinning teeth, adorned it with jewelry and with a wreath of flowers, carried it to the attic window, and faced it outwards. When everything was ready, she dipped herself into a barrel of honey, cut open the bed, and rolled around in it until she looked like a strange bird, and no one would have been able to recognize her. Then she walked outside and directed the wedding guests to the house. Finally, the sorcerer returned.
You, where are you coming from?
I am coming from Fitcher's house.
What is my young bride doing there?
She has swept the house from bottom to top, and now she is looking out of the attic window. The groom looked up. Seeing the decorated skull, he thought it was his bride, and he waved a friendly greeting to her. After he and all his guests had gone into the house, the bride's brothers and relatives arrived. They had been sent to rescue. After all the guests had entered the house, the sisters and brothers closed up all the windows and doors and set it ablaze. The sorcerer, together with his friends, all burned to death. Damn, fairy tales are pretty savage. Our next chapter is inspired by an encounter that Maggie and her family experienced. Maggie, her parents, her older cousin Brad, and two friends, Ethan and Angel, went camping at Henry W. Coe State Park in California. It was her first time camping, so she was incredibly excited, but also a little scared. The thought of being out in the open, protected only by a layer of nylon, that's kind of creepy. But her family assured her that she'd be safe, and they would have a lot of fun. People go camping all the time. What's the worst that could happen? They arrived at the park at night and set up their campsite. While her parents went to sleep, Maggie and her friends were still up, talking in their huge shared tent. At about 3 a.m., Brad decided he wanted a little adventure. Hey, have you heard of the legend of...
Can you not stare at me? Wish I can go out there and chill, but that's not the yard. This is the yard. God damn it. There's too many soldiers. It's only a small yard, like, fuck. Too many soldiers, like, crap. Time maybe 1, 2, 3. No. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Come on, come on, come on. Nope. Okay. Fuck, I'm stuck now. Okay, there we are. Now I guess this is some bullshit. Look, there's heaps of guards. There's heaps of soldiers. It's just a small yard. Like, the worst can happen. It's not like we will escape. Because look, it's a small yard. So yeah, it's not like we will escape or something. Look, fuck.
China hole? Ew, that sounds gross, said Maggie. Don't be immature. China Hole is one of the more challenging hikes in the park. Along the trail is a creek. Legend has it, a married couple were walking. She had been cheating on him.
Oh shit. Okay, so I guess let's go to my cell and go to bed and wake up in the morning. I guess this is my new wife. In supernatural prison. Great, I can't escape. Well, anything is fucking hard. It's a military. It's a military base. And a prison. So it's very hard. Don't know what to do, man. Hey, how'd it go? Good. Good morning. Good morning. You can go to the yard. And you got special permission. If you don't want to go into the yard, you can explore the whole army base. You got special permission to, you know, hang around the whole army base. Nice, Since you haven't tried to escape yet, that's a special privilege, like, you know? Cool. Yep. See ya. Okay, nice, since I haven't tried to escape yet. I might try to escape while I'm up in, well, while I'm spawned the hotel, you know. Military base. So I might have a look around and see what weak spots, if there's any weak spots or not. So if I want, I can go in there, or I can stay up here. This is the yard, this is my yard, this is the yard. Shit, so I might have a look for weak spots. Okay, so here, then this is the front gate. Okay, so even the person there. Okay, even if I try to escape, can't shut. But I wonder, might have to wait until that soldier go. Is he gone? Yeah, he's gone. Okay, good. Is there people up there? If there's not, then yeah, lucky me. Okay, so on the I'll die up this high. Okay, all good. Or die. No, so no. Okay, so what's in here? Oh. I think it's the armory and other cells. Nice. What's up here? Are these like military domes or whatever they're called. Just like military domes or okay, so briefing room, no. What about downstairs? Is that the military domes or does the military go back home and go home? Okay, so I think the military goes home and yeah, you know. Okay, check. So I think the military, you know, goes home like they do each different shift. Like night shift or day shift. Maybe something like that. Okay, so I guess let's hang out here. Why not? Let's watch YouTube and smoke some weed, I guess.
Wanted to end her life. And now her angry spirit still resides in that creek and pulls down any men who look directly into the water. And the weirdest thing is, corpses will appear in the park, dead from drowning, but nowhere near the creek. You're so full of shit, Angel said. Our campsite isn't that far from the creek. Why don't we go find out? Ethan, being the only other boy in the group, was not too thrilled about the idea of visiting a man-hating ghost, but he didn't want to look like a scaredy cat in front of Brad. Let's do it, he said in his most convincing voice. I'm in, said Angel. All eyes were now on Maggie. Brad was always doing stuff like this. He loved messing with his younger cousin. And Maggie knew that if she said no, she would not hear the end of his teasing. Fine, let's go. Lit cell phones in hand, they quietly crept out of their tent and toward the hiking trail. The only sounds in the air were the light crunching of their sneakers on the dirt and a gentle wind blowing. So when a bush rustled, they all jumped and pointed their cell phones toward the sound. They stared in silence, waiting to see if it would move again. It was probably just a lizard or something, Brad said. Let's keep moving. They continued to slowly make their way toward the supposedly haunted creek. Brad suddenly stopped, causing Ethan, Angel, and Maggie to run into him. What are you doing? Shh. Brad was completely still. Brad, are you just trying to scare us? Shh. Do you guys see that?
I wish I was
Brad slowly lifted his cell phone higher and higher
until,
in the distance, they could make out the faint outline of a woman. They all screamed and bolted back towards the campsite. They hastily zipped up the tent and hid in their sleeping bags. Maggie was trying to rationalize what they had just saw. Maybe it was just a shadow that looked like a woman. Either way, she was glad to be back in the tent. Then, she heard what sounded like footsteps outside of the tent.
God damn it. Okay, so... No, I'm not gonna even try, because if I do that, then I'll be back in the yard. If I try to escape, then I'll be back in the small yard. This is a privilege, like she said. Out here in the open, in the military base, is a privilege. So yeah, let's not ruin that. Even though we really want to get out of here, still let's not ruin that privilege. Because I like it out here, it's open. Not like that small yard over there. Okay, so
Slowly, she lowered her sleeping bag. On the tent was the silhouette of a woman. Maggie quickly retreated back into her bed. Eventually, she was able to fall asleep. The next morning, Maggie woke up to an empty tent. She heard voices outside, and so she went out to see what was going on. A few police officers were talking to her friends and parents. One of the officers saw Maggie and called for her to come over. "Hi, miss. Can you recall anything strange happening last night?" Maggie thought about the woman they saw on the trail and the silhouette outside their tent. "No. What's going on?" "We need you to come down to the station." Maggie and her family were taken.
Shit.
$0 delivery fee on your first.
What?
$0 delivery fee on.
What?
Tonight, I'll be eating the spicy. Tonight, I'll be.
What?
$0 delivery fee on.
What?
$0 delivery fee.
What? What?
I guess, yeah, let's go to bed. And wake up in the morning for another day in this place. Great. It's another day in this prison. Fuck, there. Guess what? What? The server's working. Cool. So, can I play tomorrow? I guess so. Nice.